Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. And we have some interesting news to report. So, as you can see right here, Romeo Lavia is upset. He wants to start more games. And unfortunately for me, everybody on this team that is influential agrees with him. There's one person who disagrees, which is Lee Jin-young, and that's because Lee Jin-young has been taking some of his starts. And give you a quick look at what's kind of happening here with Lavia. He does kind of have a point, right? So he's 19 years old. He's clearly the best defensive midfielder on this team. We go over to reports and form. What we can see is that he's had very, very good form all season long, but he's been not selected for a couple of games. This is mostly because of our rotation. I wanted to have him for Tianjin. I let him off for 2 games before that. We wanted to have him on for this big one against Shaanxi Chang'an, which we won. We let him off the game before that to also keep him fresh. Now, it's going to be a little bit challenging here with the schedule coming up because we have this game and the game against Shenzhen, and if he really wants to play so badly, I'll just start him all the way through. But as you can see, we have 6 first division matches here in December coming up, and there's 3 here in a row, and then these 2 in a row as well. I mean, he'll be able to rest, but we'll sort of see how this one plays out. If we win this game against Shenzhen, the game tomorrow, we'll have a 4th round cup match sometime, I think, either in December or January, if I remember right. And so that might complicate things a little bit as well. However, we're going to go ahead and let him continue to start just about every match. As you can see in the hierarchy, he is up to the influential players. It's all these players really around here that agree with him. And I made him vice captain because he's a good leader. So that's what happens. We kind of miss the old 3 musketeers that we had for our leadership on this club, but they're just simply not good enough at this player. And we have one too many foreign players, so let's see what we do. We'll put Liang Shenjun on, and we'll take probably Lotso off, and that will do it. And now let's go out here and let's win this match. So the rules here, of course, as you've noticed, if you've been watching the whole time through, are a little bit odd. Not only are these foreign player rules a little bit more liberal than they are in real life in China, as we see the snow-covered field here in Yanbian, here in Yenji, I should say. But the rules also are a little bit different here in the first division in that we can have like as many foreigners as we want in the starting team, but we have to make sure that we have no more than 13, I think, on the squad that is selected. First place for Yanbian FC, 45 goal differential and 33 points. We lost 1 match, and that was to the team that is in second place, Wuhan Changjiang, who hopefully when we get them at home, we'll be able to beat. And we start this one off early, and they've got the yellow ball out again, which means that my eyes are going to have a real hard time following this. Lee Jin-young over to Cheng Bingbing, and Cheng Bingbing is fouled right away. And we'll have Zhong Sanbing here with this free kick, looking forward for somebody. I can't see what's going on. Over to Chen Jun. And this ends up going back to Yan Dawei. Chen Jun again with it over to Lee Jin-young, and he looks and finds Dicko Eng for the first goal, and he's onside, and that's going to be 1-0 Yanbian FC, and we're not even a minute into this match. And that's the way that it is so far today. This is the problem, right, with starting Romeo Lavia, which is that we're kind of starting him in a match here that isn't really that important, that we're probably going to win without him. He doesn't even get a touch on the ball here, right? Dicko Eng gets the goal. All we do is we kind of, confuse the defense, get the goalkeeper to come out early, and Jakob Dicko Eng, who just signed a new contract, is looking very good. Zhong Sanbing again, looking forward for somebody out there. I'm not sure who. It's with Lee Jin-young, who tries to take a shot, and that's blocked by the defender. And now we have to get this off of the Xinjiang player. Xinjiang, I should say, and Liu Shaoziyang is able to go out and get that one. A little bit eccentric on his part, but that's all right. As long as he doesn't give up the goal, I think we'll be okay. Over 20,000 here, all in their winter clothes and with their winter hats on, enjoying the snow. And there's another one kicked up for Dicko Eng, and that one was back to Lavia, who had a shot on it and just missed scoring a goal there. Lavia with the captain's armband today. Here's one that's played forward for Borja. Borja is able to get it in the snow. He's really not accustomed to playing in these conditions. Over to Yan Dawei to Lavia again, and it's one off of him. And that was a little bit poor. I worry here, though, about him feeling in a pretty bad mood about things. So we'll see what happens. The plan, like I said earlier, is to just sort of play Lavia as much as we possibly can to get him happy again. And there is the equalizer from Xinjiang. Shi Jinchang with that goal. And I think that he may have been offsides by a foot or so. Let's see what they say. And they're going to disallow that. He was offside. Let's look at this. So it was a poor clearance by Dicko Eng. And he's just barely offside because this defender up here, whoever that is, I think that's probably Yandawe was in the wrong position and was a little bit further back than we really wanted him to be. We got the breeze and light snow here today, and we're trying not to let the snow get us down too far. Boria now over to Yandawe. Yandawe walks it forward now to Chung Bingbing, who's probably upset about how bad that pass was, over to Chen Jun. Chen Jun, with a few tricks here and there, back over to Torres, over to Lavia. Yi Jin-young, that's right, we have Torres back in this, even though I'm trying to sell him. Yandawe with it now, back to Chen Jun. Over to Yi Jin-young, over to Torres again. Torres back to Chen Jun. And Chen Jun walks with this a little bit, over to Yandawe, back to Chen Jun, the youngster looking for a way to get through, over to Boria. And that solves that Gordian knot, and Boria then takes a shot at that from range. He really didn't have to do that. He had a couple of guys to pass it to up front, but we'll accept it for the time being. Boria has not played very much for us, as you know. Ployman now with the ball. The reason why Boria has not played a lot is because we have Eunice Delphi, who we like to play on that right side. Jung Sanbin now looks for Chung Bingbing, and there's a shot on goal. That's got to be offside, and they're not calling it. They should have called that, though. I think Chung Bingbing was pretty clearly offside there. Jung Sanbin having a good match so far. One of our, he along with Lavia are two very, very expensive players that we pulled over from England. And that's what's put our club into the poor financial condition that we're in. Yi Jin-young with a very poor first touch on that one. And he ends up giving the ball away right away. And let's see if we can get this one off of them. And I'm not I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. I'm wondering if they don't have their tennis shoes on and we've got the cleats on. That might be what's going on. Yandawe finally gets it over to Yi Jin-young. Yi Jin-young, and he knocks it back to Chen Jun, who's going to slow it up. Over to Yandawe now. Yandawe over to Boria. There you go. Over to Yi Jin-young. Yi Jin-young looks forward, finds Dicko Eng, and it's to Jung Sanbing, who must be offside. That's a goal, but he's got to be offside. He's got to be offside by about a yard. Let's see what the referee has to say about this one here, and that is disallowed. Yeah, that was pretty clearly offside. Even with the awful contrast of this ball and the snow, you can see clearly that he's offside, like I said, by about a yard. And because you just can't head it forward to a player who's got nobody guarding him. That's just against the rules. Lavia with it now. Lavia back to Ployman to Dicko Eng, over to Lavia to Jung Sanbing, who's onside this time, over to Chung Bingbing, and he's fouled. And they're going to call a penalty there. We'll take the goal, ref. Chung Bingbing did score. The ball is sitting in the goal, but they're going to give us a penalty here, and there it is. And okay, we'll score it again. Who's going to take it? I think it's Jung Sanbing who's going to take it. Yes, Jung Sanbing will take the shot and score. And he kind of stole that one away from Chung Bingbing, who did score after being fouled. I will note. I guess we could say that everybody stopped, but there was no reason to call the penalty because we definitely had the run of play on our side. And the poor Xinjiang goalie has absolutely no chance there. He Rongzi, absolutely no chance of stopping that one. And it is 2-0 Yanbian FC as we go to halftime. And we're playing well despite the conditions, despite the snowiness and the clear amount of ice that's on the pitch. And we could be doing a little bit better. I agree with that. And we're having some somewhat poor matches by a number of players, but I don't think really bad enough to warrant us taking them off. So we'll just start here with the second half and we'll see what happens. You know the way that I am. I don't really like to take these guys off unless I really have to, because especially in a match like this, because we have a big one coming up tomorrow, I want to make sure that we have some good players that we can play for that. Ployman now with the throw over to Yi Jin-young, back to Ployman. Ployman now with the cross, that's battered back to him. Now he passes back to Yi Jin-young, over to Ployman again. Ployman tries a cross again. No, he passes it back to Yi Jin-young. Yi Jin-young will now take it over into that position, over to Dicko Eng. Dicko Eng over to Lavia. Lavia, I don't know what that was. I guess that was deflected off of a player. They're giving us a corner, but that it didn't look like much from Lavia for Mr. I'm upset because I'm not playing enough. And we're looking for Chen Jun with this. Can't quite find him, but Ployman is able to get back onto that, and he passes for Yi Jin-young back to Ployman, over to Chen Jun. Chen Jun back to Lavia, and that will end that movement. And now it is a Xinjiang corner. And I was kind of hoping that Liu Xiaoziang would come out and catch that, and he didn't, but we're able to get it away again anyway. Yandawe over to Chung Bingbing, over to Yi Jin-young. Yi Jin-young, I don't even know if he can see the ball. And clearly his teammates cannot because they're standing right in front of him, and we end up giving it up after a poor pass. And so I think we're having some real problems seeing what's happening here. Chung Bingbing forward, finds Jung Sanbing with the shot, and that one forces a very good save from He Rongzi, but he was unfortunately offside by about an inch. And it's okay. We won't complain too much about that. That's the sort of movement that we want to see. And if we have a little bit more luck, one of their players will end up being a little bit further back. And Xinjiang now passes this one forward, and then they're playing catch with the goalkeeper here for a little while. Lee Jin-young able to get a head onto it, over to Borja, to Yendawe, back to Borja. And it's taken off of him, but Chung Bingbing fortuitously is in the right place, just sort of stood there and waited for the ball to come to him, and it did. And then he tries to cross to Zhong Sanbing, but it just doesn't have enough English on it. Lavia with it now over to Lee Jin-young. And we're scurrying around like ants over here. Lee Jin-young into the penalty area, out of it again, over to Lavia, who takes a shot that's almost on target. That was not a bad idea at all by Romeo. And I mean, this is the thing. He's a good player. I don't want him to get upset. We want to give him what he wants, right? Just needs to mature a little bit, I would say. Borja with this ball now. Borja over to Yendawe, and he kicks this one forward, and that's knocked out for a corner. And so we will take the corner, and who is this going to be? It's going to be Lee Jin-young taking this corner. Lee Jin-young steps back and whines and delivers, and it's knocked back out to him. He doesn't touch it, of course, because of the fear of him being offside, which is the way I suppose you're supposed to play that. Boy, I tell you, Xinjiang only has a single shot on goal. That was a little bit close to him, but Liu Xiaozi is able to run up and grab that one. He is at least able to see it, which is great, because I'm really having a hard time seeing this yellow ball. I wish that Football Manager would default to something else. Give me an orange ball or a red ball or something like that. This yellow against that white just doesn't quite work. Chung Bingbing over to Yendawe. Yendawe walks it forward himself over to Borja. Borja is going to take a shot himself. He's going to do the one thing that I hoped that he wouldn't do. I was kind of hoping he would pass it in or do something creative with it, and instead he just took a shot. There's been a lot of this from Borja, who has not impressed me so far in his career. We have better players who can play in that position. And I think that we're about to take Borja off after seeing that pretty poor display. We'll take a look and see what happens with this attacking movement, and we're able to knock that one out over to Lavia. Lavia will walk this one up himself. He looks forward to Zhong Sanbing, who must be offside. He scores the goal. He's got to be offside, though. Let's see what they say. Yeah, that's disallowed. I'm going to say he's got to be offside. He was, I think, pretty clearly offside here. It's a great run from him. And he's trying to slow himself down a little bit, but offside once again by about a yard. And we are going to make the change. We are going to take Borja off because he's not playing well. We're going to put Patrick Gustafsson on instead. And that's just the thing about it. I mean, Gustafsson, technically speaking, is probably less in terms of attributes than Borja, but he's a better player. We had Borja, I think, at the end of last season in the under-19s, or I'm sorry, the under-21s, but I thought he would be good enough here, and it doesn't look like he quite is. I'm afraid we're going to end up taking a loss on him. Gustafsson with the shot from range and just about scores a goal, just misses, and that's a little bit more positive than anything that Borja has done so far. Dicko Eng is getting a little tired. Let's take him out here with about 10 minutes left to go, and we'll put Jubin back on. Might as well. We'll put Jubin on for him. And no, we have the ball again over to Ployman. Ployman with it, looks forward, kind of walks it up, and there's that pass over looking for Gustafsson. It goes back to Yendawe over to Chung Bingbing, who I thought for a second was the defender. The way that he pulled that one down, it looked like he was a central defender. It's really, really interesting approach and form from him. Jubin with his forward passes to Lavia. Great play by Jubin, and that set up Romeo, who just fans on the shot, unfortunately for him. That was a great play by Jubin, and that's why I love watching that kid play. He seems to know exactly what to do with it and is much more of a team player than somebody like Dicko Eng, who just wants to get shots himself. Chen Jun with this knocks it backwards, finds Gustafsson over to Chung Bingbing, back to Gustafsson over to Lee Jin-young. You can see why I like Gustafsson better. Lavia with it now. Lavia knocks it forward, looks for Jubin, finds him, and then the pass is back to Gustafsson, and that forces a deflection, and Herongsa is able to catch that in the end. And that was another excellent play by them. We look like we're about to score. Unfortunately, though, Torres totally fans on that ball in the air, and Xinjiang is just about able to score. And Torres is probably playing his final game for us here. I really have a hard time imagining myself playing with him more often, especially when we get into this period of having really one match per week again, which is coming soon. Yendawe with it. We're going to get this victory. 2-0 is not exactly the best margin of victory in the world, but we played some of these players who never get a chance to play, which was the key. Jubin with it, back to Ployman. Hoyman over to Jubin, and that is the end. That's the final whistle, and we have won this one 2-0. And I hope you enjoyed that, and come back for more tomorrow. We'll have another one of these. Talk to you then. Bye.